Hello again, boys and girls. Thanks for joining me again today so that we could finish our letter to our special person that we chose yesterday. Remember, I chose Mrs. Chrisman. I assume some of you maybe chose a family member, maybe a teacher, maybe a friend from school that you're missing. And so today we're going to address an envelope to them. So if we take a look here, I tried to draw a rectangle for us to utilize as our envelope, and then I'll show you on a real envelope. And then when we're done this, if you didn't have an envelope, we're going to make an envelope together, so that'll be really fun. So if I'm sending it to Mrs. Chrisman, this is where I want to write Mrs. Chrisman's address on this section of the envelope. So this is to Mrs. Chrisman, so I'm going to put her name here. And underneath her name, I'm going to put an address. So I'm going to put the school's address here. And Belmar Park School is on Peach Road. So that's why I'm putting 29 Peach Road. If you wanted to mail something to a teacher, you could always email it to the school because you probably don't have a teacher's address. And our school is in Belmar. And we put a comma there, and I know 3rd and 4th graders and hopefully 2nd graders realize that our city of Belmar is in the state of, and I think I heard you say it, New Jersey. And our zip code we have to put, the school's zip code. Okay, so if we have all of this information, our person's name, their street, their city, state, and zip code, we know our envelope will get and our letter will get to the right person. Now we have to put what's called a return address, just in case something happens and then it gets returned to you as the sender. So the person who's sending the letter, their address goes up here in the left-hand corner. So I'm going to put my name here. And my address, my street, and now my city. And of course my city, even though I don't live in Belmar, is still in the state of New Jersey. Now my zip code is going to be different though. Wow, look at that, they're very close. Only the last number is different. That's really interesting. Okay, so this is what you will need to do if you had an envelope and if you're going to mail your letter. So I already have an envelope ready for Mrs. Chrisman where I already filled everything out. I recopied, remember my letter from yesterday? I recopied it on this fancy paper that I had. And I'm going to put this in my envelope so that I could send it to Mrs. Chrisman. And I have a stamp that I'm going to put. And our stamp goes in the right-hand corner. So there's my stamp. So now my letter is all ready to mail to Mrs. Chrisman. I'm so excited. Okay, boys and girls, I did tell you that if we didn't have an envelope, that we could make one together. And I want to share with you that my granddaughter, who's actually in 1st grade, her name is Emma, she actually taught me how to make this envelope. I am so excited that she taught me that. And all you have to do is you can have any kind of paper. This is actually the same kind of paper I wrote to Mrs. Chrisman. And you could have printer paper, regular white printer paper, or if you don't have special paper, and you can see this one even has lines on it. It could be paper that has lines on it. Or maybe a coloring page, maybe a page from a coloring book. You might want to rip one of those out. They're about the same size, and we'll turn that into an envelope. Okay, so what my granddaughter told me was you need to have a square so that the envelope folds just right the way we need it to be. So you may need help with this. So I knew that my piece of paper was 8 inches wide. So I realized if I want it to be a square, I have to have my other side of the page be the same length. Remember, we learned the difference between a rectangle and a square. And a square, the 4 sides have to be the same length. So it doesn't have to be exactly, but we want to get it close. So I just estimated a little bit with a ruler. And now I'm going to get a scissors. I do have child scissors home. But if you don't, and you only have big scissors, I would prefer that you ask someone to help you, someone that's older than you that is allowed to hold those kinds of scissors. And I'm going to now, I'm guesstimating that this is what's going to turn my paper into a square. It looks pretty good. It was a rectangle because I had 2 short sides and 2 long sides, but now I cut that and now I have almost 4 pretty equal sides. I think I'm pretty good. So now what you have to do is we're going to take these corners and we're going to fold them in. So I'm going to take these 2 corners. I'm going to try to make them be the same. It's not easy for me to do in the air. Okay. Let's see, I think that's pretty even. We fold those down. Now I'm going to turn it over and do the same thing on this side. And you can see this is my envelope. So now I have some Scotch tape. Hopefully you have some tape. And I'm going to put some tape on this side and some tape here on this side. And now you could see I made an envelope. And then if you have your letter and you put your letter inside, you could get another piece of tape and close your envelope like that. So now on this side, now this kind of envelope, I don't know if I would put it in the mail. So I think if I was going to send a letter to Mrs. Chrisman and I didn't have a real envelope and I was making one, I think I would write her name here. And we don't even have to really put the address because then we wouldn't put it in the mail for the post office. So let's see, I'm just going to put Mrs. Chrisman. Maybe I'll put 2 Mrs. Chrisman and maybe put from Mrs. Calabria. And now, what I think I would do if I had an envelope that I was making, I think I would try to decorate it a little bit. Remember I put a heart on my letter, so maybe I would draw a heart to decorate my envelope. Let's see, maybe I might want to make a flower. And boys and girls, if you have lots of different colored markers or crayons, think of all the things you could do to decorate your envelope. You could do some drawings on the back of the envelope. You could put stickers if you have stickers there. If you have a glue stick and you have different things that you could possibly glue on to make it really fancy. I know we do that sometimes in school with different projects that we're making. And I think this would be really a neat idea. And then you can just save this for when we go back to school, if it's for your teacher or for a friend in your class, Or if it's for a relative, like a grandparent or a cousin, the next time you're able to see that person, you can give them this envelope that has inside your letter. Isn't that really awesome? Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this today. Next week, I think we're going to maybe make a project on one of the videos that I'm going to send to you. I think I'm going to try to do a fun project with you. I'll have to talk to Miss Rudder to see if she can give me any really good artistic ideas. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. Have a great night.